Hey, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. I'm Tommy Donlin, and we're in my favorite place, the Bait Lab. And this is brought to you by Sportco. Hey, tonight we're going to talk about fishing plugs and fishing specifically plugs for blackmouth, right? Now, what's the problem that we always run into? It never fails, right? We have this January, February blackmouth season that opens up in the Central Sound, and then you fish it for 7 days, and before you know it, they shut it down because we have too many sublegal encounters, right? That is the problem. And so why is that? And a lot of times that reason is because we're fishing small profile baits, right? We're fishing a Coho killer, or maybe we're fishing a smaller kingfisher spoon, or a red label herring, or maybe even an anchovy, right? And let's face it, those fish they're feeding, they're packing on weight, right? And they're gonna smash it, right? So you really have to make your profile a lot bigger. So let's look at the table here really quick. I want to introduce you to a couple products that you've probably seen before, but maybe you don't think of them in terms of your winter blackmouth fishery. Okay, so you are looking at right here the Silver Horde Ace High 5, right? This is a 5-inch plug. You're going to notice that in this plug design, and I'm holding the tried and true herring aid, right? Absolutely love this color. And basically, you know, this has also got a glow finish on the belly, shows up really well. Again, this is a 5-inch plug. You're gonna notice the lip on this plug, right? You've got kind of two styles. You've got the traditional plug here, which doesn't have any lip towards the top, kind of defining that feature there. And this is a wider plug. When you look at how wide the diameter is, this one is a lot wider than this one. So you're gonna use this one for, you know, if you're slow trolling, you really wanna get your speed down and still have that action, okay? Now my favorite, because I do like to troll plugs fairly fast, even for winter blackmouth, I'm gonna go with this one. It's got a little slimmer profile as well. So even for summer kings, you can troll up to 3.5, 4 knots with this. And it's got that feature. Okay, now, you've got this decision point that you need to make, right? Do you go with a 4-inch plug or do you go with a 5-inch plug? And what I'm saying right now, because that problem exists where you're catching these undersized fish, you really want to go with the larger plug, right? The 5-inch plug. Now I'm going to show you what a 4-inch plug looks like just in size comparison. Okay, that is a 4-inch plug right there. Now, I'm telling you, that this one here on the other side, the one that's 5-inch, is going to outperform the other one hands down all day long. Now let's look at a little bit of the color schemes here. I think it's really important, especially when you're talking about winter blackmouth. You got to have something that glows, and you got to have something that can attract that UV light. Super important. You know, the other thing when we talk about fishing plugs, the reason especially that I like them for blackmouth is because you want to avoid sublegal encounters. Now, if you do encounter those sublegal fish, you really want to, you know, treat those fish kindly, release them gently, right? And well, what do you notice on this plug? If I lay it back on the table, it's got a single hook, right? A single hook point, one single sidewash hook. You know, obviously you're gonna smash the barb before you put this in the water. And you know, a lot of times with this big hook and the size of the bait, you're gonna hook that fish right in the corner of the mouth. So it's really important to consider that. Now, here's the other thing about plugs, right? The way I fish them, especially for winter blackmouth, those fish are on the bottom a lot, right? You're gonna see them kind of right in that bottom 10 feet of water column. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on the release clip. Now I wanna show you this release clip on the table here really briefly. This is, anytime I'm fishing gear and especially plugs, I'm gonna use a pro release, right? Now, why am I using this pro release? The reason I use a pro release is because that type of release for your downrigger only releases from the plug end. Okay, so you can really load up the rod, you can, you know, send the downrigger down fast, and that line's not gonna come out of that clip unless a fish hits it. And I like to really load up the rod, especially with plugs. You've got a bigger hook and you wanna drive it home, okay? And so that's really important. Now with plugs, the way you fish them, and it's really important, you wanna set these plugs back about 40 to 50 feet behind your downrigger clip. These plugs wander left to right, okay, they've got a sway to them, and you want to let them fish and swim back and forth. If you're cutting that super close to the clip, you're only gonna get a little bit of action left to right. So basically, especially fishing for blackmouth, I'm gonna put the balls all the way down to the bottom. I'm gonna bump the bottom with the downrigger ball, and then I'm gonna bring it up 5 feet and wait. Okay, monitoring my depth. Wait a couple minutes, put it back down, bump the bottom, and then bring it back up just a couple feet, right? I'm gonna have that plug right in the zone. Here's one more last beautiful fact about fishing these plugs. You know, you've got 4 people on the boat, you've got 2 downriggers. These plugs stack with 0 issues. They do not tangle. There's no flasher involved, there's very little drag, and they just don't tangle. So you can effectively fish 4 plugs, which I really don't like to do with flashers because I do believe that that upper rig that's stacked above the lower one can also prevent that salmon from coming in and hitting that lower rig. So another reason I don't like to stack, but for plugs, do it all day long. All right, that's gonna do it for us in the bait lab. Don't go anywhere, we're gonna be right back. Fish on Northwest.